Welcome back to another episode of Life in the Stands podcast. We have Bender and Zach back on the podcast today. We're really excited to jump right into March Madness today. Games are coming up, so we're going to get right rolling into those picks. But first, make sure you follow us on Twitter at stands_life. It's where we're most active, so definitely come interact with us there. We're also on TikTok and Spotify at Life in the Stands. And just this week, we are newly on iHeartRadio and also Amazon Music and Audible, also at Life in the Stands. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And without further ado, Bender, let's jump right into some March Madness picks.
Yes, sir. So we are doing this on ESPN's bracket challenge, tournament bracket challenge. Um, so what we're gonna do here, just to explain to you guys, let's pick any random games. Let's do Auburn and Yale, for example. So if I pick Auburn and Zach picks Yale, the way we're gonna do the tiebreaker is I'm gonna give Zach the first one. If it's a split vote, he'll get the first one. We'll pick the team that he picked, and then the next tiebreaker will go to me. But I will start us off here just because this is probably the easiest pick of them all. UConn, without a doubt, will beat Stetson. I don't think anybody can compete with UConn in this whole tournament until the end, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I'm going to take UConn here too. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think we have any, spoiler alert, but I don't think we have any 16 seeds this year with a dream or a miracle happening.
No, but I do expect some double-digit seeds, which we'll get to at some point here. This is going to be a very guard-oriented matchup here between FAU and Northwestern. Um, Very good guard play. However, I'm always a fan of the bigger conference is going to win. I have Northwestern advancing in this one. Florida Atlantic is no slouch, though.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take FAU in this one. I just feel like they're also a tournament style team. Yeah, I think once you get into the tournament, having good guard play, like you said, is paramount. And they do have some experience over the last couple of years making some deeper runs into the Sweet 16 and things like that. So I don't think they're afraid of the moment. I'm going to take FAU, and that is the first tiebreaker. So that means that
That one's going to go,
whatever next pick we disagree on, that will obviously go to Bender.
of course. Do you want to start us off with the next pick here?
Absolutely. So San Diego State and UAB. I think this one's a pretty easy pick as well. San Diego State's had a good year. I'm gonna put the 5 seed through.
Yeah, I'll agree with that as well. Um, Very, very interesting matchup, but I just don't think UAB has enough here.
Yeah.
We'll keep moving down here. Go down the Auburn Yale game to see who plays against San Diego State in the following round. Auburn, very good team, just won their conference championship this past weekend. I think they keep that momentum. What I've seen over the last couple of years, and you'll see the trend with the way I pick in this. Conference winners usually get through the first round. So I will be taking Auburn. I hope Zach's taking Auburn. I clicked it preemptively here, but
Yeah, I'm definitely with Auburn here. I think Auburn has also impressed me with a couple of big wins this year. They had an 18-point win against Alabama. They also won against Mississippi State twice, won against Florida, won against Texas A&M. So they've got a good resume. And like you said, when you do win that conference championship going into the tournament, a lot of momentum there. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, going Auburn.
I'll let you start us off with the BYU game here. Who do you
Yeah,
got
I'm
in this
actually
one?
gonna go. I'm gonna go against BYU. I'm gonna go Duquesne. I think Duquesne is better set up here. I like what they bring to the table more. They seem to be a little bit more balanced across the board, and they have some good wins as well. They've beaten a couple of other tournament teams throughout the year. I just don't think BYU really has enough. They're not a normal tournament team either. So for them to be back in after, which I believe is a couple of years, I think it's probably a little bit too bright for them.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, I actually have Duquesne as well. And to me, having similar records, I know it's different conference. Duquesne's in the Atlantic 10, but um, they have the 15th ranked strength of schedule, like the hardest schedule. So just with that alone and being battle tested, I think is enough to get through the first round. Um, I don't see them going far, but first round upset is where I see this heading.
For sure. And I think, that leads right into the next game. I'll pick that one too, where I'm going to take Illinois over Morehead State. Illinois had a good run in the Big Ten championship. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I'm going to pick Illinois as well. Again, another conference championship winner. I think enough said there. They had some guards um, go off in that tournament as well. So anyway, guard play, going to be a common theme in this whole tournament. But guard play wins you games. Big players win you games. So Illinois in that one for sure. I'm going to go to the next one. Washington State has played a lot of top 25 teams this year. Excuse me. Um, I think they win this one over Drake. I don't see anything from Drake. I was trying to look up some film on them, and I just don't think they have enough against Washington State. So people can hate me for that, but sorry.
Yeah, I think Drake is going to be a popular 10-7 pick here. But I tend to agree. I watched that game against Indiana State in the conference championship, and even though they did win that game, they definitely gave up a big run at the end. It definitely was a lot closer than it should be, and it kind of felt like they took their foot off the gas. So I don't trust that in the tournament whatsoever. So yeah, I think I'm going to go Washington State with that pick as well. We can make it
Sweet.
easy on ourselves for the next pick as well, taking Iowa State. I think we can both agree on that.
For sure. I think that's going to be a very sneaky two seed throughout this tournament. I think that could be the team to upset UConn eventually. So we'll keep our eye on that. But we're actually going to scroll all the way down here. We're going to go to the West region. And we'll start off with North Carolina versus Wagner here. Zach, who do you have?
Yeah, I think UNC comes out on top here. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't think any 16 seed is making it out at this point.
No. And it's only happened twice, right? So
Right. Yeah.
it's not common. I know teams have been pushed by 16 seeds before as well. Not a win though. I also have UNC in this one. Going to the next game, we have Mississippi State versus Michigan State. I have Michigan State in this one. I think it's just because of being a Big Ten team here. Again, not a Michigan State fan. I'm a Michigan fan, so it's hard to believe I'm picking them. But um, their body of work and the teams they've played against, I think they're an underachieving team. So I think they're almost like a false 9 seed in this tournament. So if they can get on track, I think they can get through this first round at the least.
Yeah, I'll take Michigan State here too, mostly because of the battle testedness. Like you said, their strength of schedule is high, just being in the Big Ten, and I think another thing with a Tom Izzo led team with a bad record going into the tournament, for me that's dangerous because I think all those guys are probably hungry. They're not being talked about a lot. I think it's if you're a Michigan State fan, it's probably where you kind of want to be.
Yeah, for sure. That'll be a very tough matchup in the next round if they both make it
Yeah.
to this section here. However, we're going to move to St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. GCU, I don't know if you know much about GCU, but they are like a run and gun style of team. St. Mary's is very slow paced, half court offense kind of team. I'm picking GCU here. There's a guard on their team, last name Grant Foster, two-part last name Grant Foster, averaging about 20 a game. That's the kind of play you need in the tournament, and that's who I have winning.
I'm completely on board with this. I really like GCU in this tournament. Actually, really like GCU in this tournament. So yeah, I won't say too much right now, but I'm taking Grand Canyon in this one too. I think you're exactly right with the style of play. Like in the tournament, the longer, deeper it goes into it, that's also the kind of team that can upset teams because it's not a style of play that's very consistent in college basketball to be able to do well.
And again, it's also one of those teams where it's like they don't play in the best like conference, like they're not in one of the power conferences. So to be under the radar as a team like that, I think is very beneficial. But Zach,
Absolutely.
what is your next pick here in the Alabama Charleston game?
I'm gonna go Alabama here. I think that just makes sense. A lot of people have Alabama winning the whole thing, right? I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about here. Alabama's the better team.
Yeah. I also have Bama. Mark Sears is a dog. He averages 21 plus points per game. I think that's going to be a another top pick in the NBA draft coming up as well. Um, I'm going to move on. I feel like that was a pretty easy pick for us, but I don't think this one will be. Um, Clemson versus New Mexico. New Mexico seems to have very solid teams. Maybe not superstar players, but they do have a pretty good program over there. They tend to make it
Yep.
majority of the years. Clemson, I feel like is also another underachieving team, but I just don't think they have enough. And I think they'll underestimate New Mexico. So I have New Mexico on this one.
Man, Bender, we've been picking a lot of the same upsets because I also do have New Mexico. I like their offense. They rank as one of the top scoring teams in the entire NCAA. And again, going back to how tournament games work, I feel like the reason higher seeds get upset is because they start building houses. They start laying bricks. They start crapping the bed a little bit. And if you can, become a team that is going to put up 70, 80 points consistently in the tournament, you're going to go pretty far because even in the title games, you think about title games the last couple of years, very rarely does it get up into the 90s and things like that. Being able to score in these games in this tournament is hard. If you got a good offense, I think you have a chance.
Yeah, and the other part of that that people don't think about is like if you're scoring that many points, the other team also has to score on you as well. So having to keep up with that same pace, exactly why I had St. Mary's losing a couple games ago in our picks. Um, Fast pace, scoring offense, New Mexico in this one. And just to preface here, Zach and I did not talk about our picks before this podcast, so so much for the tiebreaker idea right about now. But we'll
Kind
move
of
on
crazy, actually. We
to
picked the same 11, picked
yeah,
two 11s, picked the same 12.
yeah, we're great minds think alike right now. But no, what's your pick in the next game here? We have Baylor versus Colgate.
I have Baylor on this one. They actually beat Iowa State at one point this year, and Kansas. So I like Baylor. I think they have enough pieces, at least to get out of the first round for sure.
Yeah, I also have Baylor. Jacoby Walters, also one of those players that's a dog for their team. He doesn't average the most points in the world. He averages 14 plus, but he's going to be a top pick in the NBA draft. You almost need that superstar caliber player to make a run. I'm always a believer in if you have that one player that can make a run. Sorry for a Michigan reference, but Trey Burke, you have a chance to go far if an individual player goes far in a run. So um, let's move. Let's go with your pick again here, Zach, for the Dayton, Nevada game. I think this is a very intriguing one.
Yeah, this is an interesting game. I think Dayton is another one of those teams that normally does well in the tournament. Normally their style of play does well. So I'm going to go Dayton here. I do also I really like Duron Holmes at Dayton. He's averaging 20 and 9, 20 and 8, 20 and 9 rebounds, which means you're going to have an interior presence probably offensively and defensively. So I like Dayton in this game.
We're actually going to approach one of our next tiebreakers here. So I have Nevada, and it's more because of their workload as well. They're 3-1 against top 25 teams here. Um, Net rank 34th, so they didn't quite make it in the top 25 to end the year, but I think they have some quality wins that show they can at least make it past the first round. Um, and this is my tiebreaker, I believe. So
I think so.
I'm gonna soak that up and pick Nevada here, and I think we'll agree on this one too.
Arizona, yeah. So on the whole, so we're through two whole regions here at this point, and we've only had two different picks.
Yeah, this is actually kind of crazy. I thought we would have been all over the place, but there is a whole other two sections to fill out. We still have the Midwest and we still have the South. So we're gonna go with the South here. Um, I think we both have Houston as well in this one too.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
can correct me
Houston
if
all
I'm
the way
wrong,
there.
but yeah. Longwood, sorry. Appreciate you making the tournament, but early exit. See ya.
Yep.
Who do you have in the next game? 8-9 matchup here, which tends to be a coin flip every year if you look at the percentages.
Right.
Um, we got Nebraska versus Texas A&M this one.
Yeah, I got Texas A&M here. I think the SEC is actually becoming a pretty decent basketball conference at this point. I think if you look back, you would have said like, ACC, maybe Big Ten or like your two big conferences. I really feel like the SEC is really coming along. I like Texas A&M's body of work. They beat Kentucky, they beat Tennessee. So I'm gonna go Texas A&M here.
Yeah, we're going to approach another tiebreaker, and it's more just because of a funny thought. Nebraska has the what Pat McAfee today called him, what the Asian Steph Curry or something.
Yes.
Um, Dude's nuts. He can really shoot the freaking thread off the ball. I have Nebraska in this one. Again, it's a toss up. There's no saying who wins this matchup, but for tiebreaker's sake, we'll pick Texas A&M here. And then we'll move on to another game that I find interesting. I know I keep saying that, but I think there's a lot of good first round games this year compared to past years, and especially since the last what would you say, 2, 3 years has been so unpredictable.
Yep.
Um, so who do you have
Yeah.
in this one?
I have James Madison here. James Madison, I think, is the pick for a couple reasons. Number one, they hold opponents to 29% shooting behind the 3-point line.
Mhm.
So teams don't play well offensively against them. They're another team like the other 12 seed we talked about, the other 12 seed being Grand Canyon University. They're very similar in the way they play. They're pushing the pace, they're up tempo. I don't think Wisconsin will deal with that very well. And James Madison had the best record in all of NCAA this year. They were 31-3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 31-3, 10-0 in their last 10 games. I think the only conflict you have here in regards to making your decision and your pick is the fact that Wisconsin beat a team like Purdue um, in the conference tournament and also pushed Illinois, who's a 3 seed in the March Madness tournament. So I think there is some say to pick Wisconsin. However, I think James Madison is built to win, especially with the percentage you just brought up with the 3-point line. 3-point shooting is very important in this tournament. If you're just scoring in the paint, you're not going to be able to keep up. Um, Next
Absolutely.
game here, I think this one's pretty easy. I have Duke.
I have Duke
I
here
don't know how
too.
you feel about this. I just don't think Vermont has the size and or the skill to keep up.
Yeah, I think Duke's one of those blue bloods that they won't falter this year. It's going to be Duke in that game.
Glad we agree on that one. Um, we'll swing to your pick again here. We have a 6 versus 11 matchup. We have Texas Tech versus NC State. Who do you got?
I have Texas Tech in this one. This is a little bit of a toss up, but they walloped Kansas at one point this year by 29 points. So I think that shows you that the ceiling is there. And again, it's another strong offensive team, good guard play. So I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
Like you said, their ceiling is definitely there. I just feel like they've been a little bit inconsistent with their play. Um, with the theme that I'm going with for this, I have NC State winning this game. And that's more just they have the momentum. I think momentum is important going into the March Madness tournament. They just won the conference tournament, so I am going to pick NC State, and that is my tiebreaker. So they are going to move on. I
Very
think
nice.
this is an easy one. I have
Yeah.
Kentucky against Oakland. I have Kentucky winning.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of guard play here as well. Dillingham's a freaking dog as well. He is an absolute bucket.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him in the pros one day, but um, I'm assuming you agree with this pick
Yeah, 100%. And you're talking about Dillingham, and you don't even mention the other guard in their team that averages 5 more points per game on
for
in
sure.
Kentucky. So yeah, Reeves is a dog as well. I'll jump into the next pick. I'm gonna take Florida here. Um, I think Florida is yeah, obviously we don't know who they're gonna end up playing, but I'm gonna take the 7 seed over the 10 seed in this instance because no matter who they play out of those two teams, I think Florida ends up on the upper hand of that. Um, Better strength of schedule than both of those teams, more experience about against top competition, and they don't have to play a playing game, right? Which I think makes a difference too when you're actually coming into the tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against you here, and it's only for one reason. Florida lost their big man. They're leading Division 1 in rebounds per game. I think that's going to be a big hit to them. Um, can they get out of the first round? Yes. But in my opinion, I expect Colorado to win tonight. We are recording a few days early, so we are getting to see some of the play-in games right now as they're happening. Um, but I think Colorado beats Boise State tonight. I think Colorado is a very underrated team that doesn't belong in a play-in game, in my opinion. And I think they could probably blow the doors off of Florida. But it is your tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker, yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm going to pick Florida here. Um, the next one's very easy as well. Um, I'm going to pick Marquette for the two of us.
Yep,
Sorry to speak for you, but I'm assuming. Um,
all good. The next
and
one after that is easy as well. So
yeah, 1 versus 16 seed. We got a Purdue versus I don't know who won tonight. Doesn't even matter. Why are we talking about it? Um so let's go 8 versus 9. We got Utah State and TCU. Who you got in this one?
I have TCU in this one. TCU beat Baylor and they beat Houston this year. Um, They crash the boards a lot, and they like to run the floor. So fast paced, good rebounders. I'm going to take TCU.
Yeah. I'm gonna take TCU as well. Utah State's a very good team. I expect it to be a close game the whole time.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think the quality of wins goes towards TCU's favor in this one.
right.
Um, I'm going to start with you again, just because I'm curious, because I know a lot of people have talked about McNeese the last couple of days. Um, but who do you have between Gonzaga and McNeese here?
Yeah, I don't see with McNeese. They're a great basketball team. The reason I don't see it with McNeese in this specific circumstance is because it's strength on strength with Gonzaga. Gonzaga's got two guys that average over 7 rebounds a game. Um, in college basketball, there's a lot of interior presence there, and I think that's one thing that McNeese does really well. So I think they're going to kind of meet their match a little bit. Again, running one of those kind of blue blood programs. Congrats to McNeese though on a great year. I do think they've had a great year. I think they're second in record. They're 30-3, I think. So they right
Yeah.
behind you in terms of one of those non-power conferences with a really good record and a lot of momentum entering the tournament. But yeah, I just think Gonzaga is too big, too powerful here.
Yeah, Gonzaga always has size. I'm also picking Gonzaga here. Um, I just good luck to you, but you're not winning. Uh, straight
Sorry,
up on
Ben.
that one. Yeah. We got Kansas versus Sanford. The next one, it's a 4 versus 13. And I think something that's interesting about this game is more about the injuries for Kansas. I know McCullough's not playing, but news came out today that Hunter Dickinson, big man that used to play for Michigan, is playing, which changes my pick on this one. I have Kansas getting out of the first round just because he is playing. Um, but just the first round, and we'll get to that eventually. But um, I think those injuries make it harder for further rounds and better competition.
Yeah, I'm on Kansas on this round too. I think if both those guys don't play, it is a huge shakeup that they probably can't get over the hump with, but it'll be enough of a stabilizing force.
Yeah. And then we'll move on to number 6 versus number 11. We got South Carolina and Oregon. I actually have Oregon in this one. I love the way they play. Big fan. Just close game. It's one of those coin toss games for me. But I just think Oregon's going to pull this one out.
Yep. And Oregon won the Pac-12 tournament. So
Yeah, yeah.
you had a conference winner, right? So yeah, I'm taking Oregon here too. Yeah, I like Oregon.
Sticking with the theme. Um,
Yeah.
Next one I think is also very easy. I think Creighton has a chance to make it to a Final Four. I don't think people think that way. Um, However, I think Creighton has a chance to make it that far. I have Creighton beating Akron. I think that's going to be a blowout game.
I think so too. I think Akron probably should have been more like a play-in team. Uh, but yeah, I'm taking Creighton there.
And then next one here, Colorado State won their play-in game last night to become a 10 seed to play Texas. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I still have Texas here though. Um, Texas has played a really good schedule, so I think they're battle tested. I like what they do more.
Um, yeah, I have Texas as well. I don't think there's much else to say about that. I already had the mindset of whoever won that game last night was going to lose to Texas anyway,
Yeah,
for the reasons you brought up. So we'll go with Texas here.
yeah,
And I think this is easy as well. I have Tennessee simply because they're just a crazy athletic team, crazy
yeah,
skill team.
yeah.
Play
Tennessee's
really
fun to
hard.
watch.
Yeah,
Fun to
one of
watch.
those it's one of those teams like Houston, right? Like they run and jump. They're all over the place, play hard. So, and then we'll move to the round of 32. We'll go back up to the East region here. Um, I have UConn. Simple
I,
enough.
yep, I have
I think
UConn
a
as
lot of
well.
people have UConn not
Yep.
getting upset throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, and it'll be nice. We can move through picks a little bit quicker here now that we've kind of talked a little bit about each team, so you know how we feel kind of about each team already. So I do have UConn there. In that 4-5 game, I have Auburn making it through.
I also have Auburn, conference champion as well. Um, Bruce Pearl got emotional the other day after all of that. If you saw that interview, it was great to watch. Duquesne versus Illinois. I have Illinois in this one. Like I'm happy to see Duquesne possibly get this upset here. But I think Illinois' guard play and their momentum is going to keep them rolling
Yep, I'm on board with Illinois there. That's what I have, and then I have Iowa State as well. You talked earlier about them being a potential, sleeper two team. I think that they definitely get into the Sweet 16.
for sure. And then let's move back down. Let's go to the West. Um, another what would be a typical powerhouse matchup between North Carolina and Michigan State. Michigan State's program fell off a little bit here late, but 1 versus 9, I think North Carolina wins easily in this one.
Yep, I have North Carolina there, and I talked a lot about Grand Canyon as a 12 seed. I do like them a lot. Similar to Duquesne, I'd love to see them get this upset. It'd be a lot of fun, but I do think Alabama wins.
So going with what you said about Gonzaga a little bit ago, strength versus strength. I think guard play versus guard play here. Bama has Sears. I think that's gonna be the deciding factor in that one. So Bama wins this one.
Yep,
And then we'll move 3 versus 11, Baylor versus New Mexico. Who do you have in this one?
I have Baylor in that one. Yeah, I don't see an upset happening there.
I agree. We're seeing them pretty basic picking the top teams here, but um, that we expect from what it seems like a lot of upsets in the first round. Um, but the powerhouses will get the best of them in the second round, which will be the theme here with my pick. I have Arizona winning against Nevada.
Yeah, I do have Arizona. And I don't know, maybe we won't keep that theme because I do have some higher seeded picks going through here in a little bit. So,
Mhm. Okay, guess we'll have to see. Let's move to Houston then. We have Houston and Texas A&M. Houston wins this easily.
yep.
Um, I don't think Houston will have a competition until they play a team like a Duke, JMU, Wisconsin, whoever comes out of this little section here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I agree with
so,
Houston. And I will say that James Madison is going to be the team that comes out of that little section there. I think they
ooh,
beat Duke.
okay. I have Duke. Um, I believe it is it my tiebreaker on this one?
I honestly forget.
Yeah, I
Um,
forget too. Let's roll with the upset. Let's just go with you on this one.
yeah,
Let's
let's
go
go with the upset.
JMU.
All right. And
Um,
everyone
yeah,
else, remind us next time it's Benders.
yeah. But of course, we're doing this for fun. No money involved. We're just going to print this out. We're not actually going to submit it. We're just going to print this out and kind of see what happens. Um, Due to our careers, we're not allowed to sports bet. So we're just going to fool around with this and see what happens. Um, let's
Next
go
up.
to NC State, Kentucky. I think this is going to be a closer game as well. I think NC State's a fake 11 seed. I don't think they deserved an 11. I think they should be higher. But I do have Kentucky with all the guard play we mentioned in this one.
Yep, I have Kentucky, and then if we go down to the next game there, um, I actually had Marquette going through in this round.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree as well. Marquette, I didn't bring this up, but Marquette has the leading assist man in the nation on their team. So I think that plays a factor. Talking about offense related teams, or offensive based teams, that's one of them.
Yep,
Um, UConn versus Auburn, I think that's still an easy decision. I have UConn. I don't know how you feel about that,
yep,
but
I have UConn as well.
sliding back down, we're narrowing it down here, guys. Illinois versus Iowa State. I'm gonna let you go first on this one.
I have Illinois on this one.
Okay. So do I. Glad we agree. Uh, let's hope we don't have to go back to the tiebreaker.
Right.
But no, I have Illinois in this one. I think that momentum is important. All the other upsets that occur in this section of the bracket allow them to get through. Um, let's go up. Sorry, I'm very fidgety with the mouse here. Houston versus JMU.
Yeah, I think Houston wins this game. The
Oh,
Cinderella story ends there.
thank goodness you said that. I also have Houston, of course, because I didn't even have JMU last time around. So we're gonna go with Houston. Houston's also one of the top ranked defenses
Yep,
in the nation as well, which I think is important. Who do you have in the Kentucky Marquette
yep.
game?
I like Kentucky's guard play more, and I think they have a little bit more size. So I'm going to go Kentucky in that game.
Yeah, I also have Kentucky. So there's a chance we don't even have to meet in the middle with the tiebreaker. Let's go straight to Yukon, Illinois.
UConn, Illinois. I have UConn.
Yeah, I also have Yukon. I just think they're too much. I don't think there's a lot of teams that can beat them. And I guess you'll see in the next round um, how I really feel about that. But let's move to Houston and Kentucky. It's not likely that there's two number one seeds that play against each other in the championship game, but I think this is the year that it could happen. I have Houston winning this one. Um, and is that what you got as well?
I did have Kentucky, but it is your tiebreaker, so Houston
Okay,
goes through.
awesome. So we got Houston and UConn. Um, did you at least have? Ooh, we missed a section, boys.
Yeah, so
Let's
we got to go
go
through and bring this round of 32 to the Sweet
to
16.
the
So let's do kind of
yeah
a rapid fire through these.
yeah. I got Purdue.
Yep, I have Purdue as well.
I have Gonzaga because Kansas is banged up.
Yep, Gonzaga.
I have Creighton in this one. Sneaky team.
I actually had Oregon going through there. And is my
Your
tiebreaker, so I'll do
tiebreaker?
Oregon. And then I think we can
Yeah.
agree on Tennessee.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Tennessee again against Oregon.
Yep, I agree there.
Okay. And then we got Purdue, Gonzaga.
Purdue.
Me as well. Let's go to the other section real quick. North Carolina, Bama.
I have North Carolina going through.
I have Bama. So that's my that's my tiebreaker on that one.
Yep.
Go Bama. And then Baylor, Arizona.
This is going to be a good game. If this game happens, this might be one of the best games of the tournament. I'm going to take Baylor.
I'm gonna take Arizona. But it is your tiebreaker. Let's go Baylor. Um, I'm sure I screwed up your UNC pick probably. Um, but who do you got between Bama and Baylor?
Yeah, I did have UNC beating Baylor, but I'll take Bama beating Baylor there in that case then.
I agree. I'm a big fan of Sears. And then let's do Purdue, Tennessee. I got Purdue.
I got Purdue as well.
Sweet. That was easy enough. Look at that. Look at us. All right. I got UConn over Bama.
Yeah, I didn't have Bama there. I had UConn over North Carolina, but absolutely.
Fair enough. Doesn't change too much. I also have Houston over here. Um, their speed will take over Edie and Purdue.
Yeah, I had Kentucky beating Purdue. So, either way there, we're in agreement that Purdue will fall in the Final Four. But we've gotten here to a UConn Houston final game.
I have UConn for the winner. Um, and I think it's because in order to beat Houston, you need to make a lot of threes. And I think that's the team to do it offensively.
I have UConn as well. My point total, my guess
I'll let you
is
do it.
my guess is 186.
I would have been in the 180 ballpark. So
I
I'm
think
cool
it's
with
going to
that.
be a high scoring game, like Bender said, really good guard play. I think if they make it to that point in the tournament, they're also going to be hot, right? Everyone's going to be in rhythm. Everyone's going to be feeling good. So this is going to be a high scoring, fun championship game to watch. I hope it gets to this point. And like Bender said too, it's not common that you get 2 1 seeds in the championship game.
Yeah, and I think the odds of getting 3 1 seeds in the final four is also very low. To have two against each other in the finals is kind of a crazy thing to think about. I feel like you always see like a 4 or 5 seed advancing to the second round, beating or advancing to the Sweet 16, beating a number one seed usually.
Right.
Um, or one of those random events where like a number 6 Creighton or number 5 Miami from last year, like making little runs.
Right.
I feel like you don't often see a double digit seed knock off a 1 seed unless it happens as a 16 seed, which we didn't pick any. But
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
we'll
I
we'll
would
kind of
agree.
see
And I
that.
think, like Bender and I picked too, there's always, 1 or 2 10s, 1 or 2 11s, 1 or 2 12s, maybe a 13 seed that makes it out of the first round. So, it's always smart, I think, to pick at least a couple of those to make it because, where the matchups make sense, those are some trap games for sure.
Yeah, the seeding can definitely be what it is. For those who aren't used to picking March Madness brackets, take it from us. Definitely pick some upsets. Doesn't even matter if it's a 9 over an 8, just because of what we talked about earlier. It's a coin flip.
Yep.
Um, so I feel like there's a lot of those opportunities to capitalize on. Now I think it gets harder when you go and pick the round of 32 and Sweet 16 because then it gets chaotic. Who has momentum? All of those good things. But definitely be creative, be risky, and good luck to you guys.
Yeah, it's a fun time. March Madness is always super exciting. I remember being in some high school classrooms with Bender while some teachers pulled the TV monitor out to the side and March Madness was playing in some high school classes. And it is like one of the best times of year to be a college basketball and a sports fan in general. Everybody loves March Madness. So thanks again for watching and listening, guys. Remember to follow us on Twitter at stands_life. That's where we're most active. So come interact with us. We're also on TikTok, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music and Audible now at Life in the Stands. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.